What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I am starting this video off a little differently and I'm going to try to show you the authentic version of my desk setup, which right now, as you can tell, it's kind of a mess. What you may have noticed in my past couple videos is I have not really put much effort towards cable management and I have not done a good job at keeping my office organized after what you see in the videos. So I am gonna do my best today to tackle that. I'm also gonna show you some of the new things I've added to my setup, like usual, just to give you some more inspiration for your own setup. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into it with all of the cable management and what's inside these boxes, and then we'll go from there. To get this mess cleaned up, I wanted a fresh start, so everything had to come off. Even though this under desk tray worked well for the past couple of years, it didn't hide my cable mess, so it had to go. To fill the screw holes, I just used some Minwax wood filler, but watching this now, I probably could have filled in the indents as well. This step isn't 100% necessary, but I really didn't want to leave my desk a mess underneath. To get the leftover adhesive off, I used Gooby Gone, a scraper, and a lot of patience. My replacement cable tray is this long metal black option that I bought off Amazon. If you also have a butcher block top, you absolutely must use a drill bit or else you most likely will not be able to get the screw in. To ensure that you don't go all the way through your desk, just measure the drill bit off with the screw and use tape as a stopping point. Once done, installation was easy enough. Turning the desk over, not so much. I've seen some comments asking what I do to keep my desk clean, and since I had the desk away from the wall, I wanted to take this moment and show you all. If you don't know, dark board and batten walls can collect dust pretty easy, so if you don't have a rechargeable air compressor, get one. These things are a lifesaver. For the floors, I mainly keep them clean using a cordless Dyson vacuum, and we also have an automated Shark vacuum that runs about 2 or 3 times a week. I was going to say I also use a steam cleaner for our floors, but after I added these clips, I learned that you really probably should not use this on engineered hardwood floors like mine, which sucks because they are so much better than traditional mops. Luckily, nothing's been damaged as of yet, but just wanted to keep this part in here just in case anyone else didn't know. As for helping prevent dust on my Alex drawers and my desk, I mainly use Pledge multi-surface to help attract less dust over a longer period of time because dusting all the time, it just sucks. Running cables down a standing desk is kind of tricky because you have to factor in the different heights the cables need to go up. To help it look a little cleaner, I added this cable management vertebrae design from Vivo. It's kind of got a little cheaper plastic feel to it, but once I had it all set up, it actually added a pretty sick design element to my desk. Don't believe me? Watch it in action with this uplifting choir sound. Yeah. When it comes to cable management, the first few items were just the beginning. One of my biggest new additions, and I mean big, as in the box was 5 or 6 feet and weighed about 30 something pounds, is my newest desk shelf from Hexcal. While this does have a hefty price tag and it's definitely not for everyone, I will say that of everything I've seen on the market, this is hands down the creme de la creme of desk shelves. Hexcal Studio is a 47.3 inch by 8.7 inch unibody unit that's made using durable, high-quality materials including polished stainless steel and aircraft-grade aluminum. Inside the box you get the basics, which includes the Hexcal Studio, 2 USB-A bridging cables, a USB-A to USB-C cable, cable management strips, and the instruction booklet. As I mentioned in a previous video, I want to merge design and function. In this case, the sleek modern design merges extremely well with my entire desk setup, but from a function perspective, this gave me the ability to do a lot. So let's go through everything. What really makes this shelf different is its cable management area, which you can access by taking the top off. Inside, you'll first find the metal leg extenders in case you want it a little higher to store items like a Mac Mini underneath the shelf. On the backside of the Hexcal Studio is where you'll find the backbone of the entire station, which is extremely clean cable management slots and power supply system that supports up to 14 different devices depending on how you use it. Inside this area, I was able to tuck away all the cables and power bricks so that they're no longer showing on the outside. To get it right, you just gotta tinker around and then figure out which way you want the cables to route through. Once I got that all set up, I was able to put all my tech back on my desk. I covered the majority of my tech choices in my last video, so if you want to check that out, I'll put a link down in the description. Another huge perk of this product is it merges a few other products into one station. First off, it includes a wireless charging area on the left side that gave me the ability to get rid of my phone charger, and it meant one less cable for me. It also includes a 16 level light that you can technically use to remove the need for a monitor light. That said, I still kept my BenQ light mainly for the backlight portion. If you use your desk setup a lot at night, it's definitely recommended having some form of light to help with the eye strain. There's a lot of options with Hexcal's light system, so you can play around with it and even save your favorite settings to avoid having to reset them all the time. Finally, Hexcal also features a few extra USB charging ports as well as 2 USB bridging ports. Overall, I love this addition and hope to see more options like this in the future, especially now that my setup has grown so much that cable management continues to become a bigger and bigger element. A new tech addition to my setup comes from Razer's newest low-profile keyboard, the Deathstalker V2 Pro. This was literally just released at end of July, so I'll take you through the unboxing process so you get a better idea of what comes inside. This option can be wirelessly connected via Bluetooth 5.0 that you can use to switch between different devices, or you can connect it with the hyperspeed wireless dongle that is all about low latency. Razer started to get into the lower profile keyboards with sleek modern designs, and I'm all for it. The battery life here is about 40 hours, so I don't have to charge it very often at all. The main reason I love it is because of the low profile design. I've been super into the black with green blacklight option. The ABS keycaps are really nice quality. I personally really like the typing experience with it, especially since it's not loud. And also I realize I am someone that will always want a full keyboard, mainly because of the amount of times that I have to enter data for work. My main complaint here is the lack of support for Mac OS. This keyboard can be modified using Razer Synapse 3 software, which is unfortunately only supported on Windows. I actually really love this keyboard, so if Razer is watching this, please consider giving Mac users options as well. With that said, I 100% understand that this keyboard is also developed for gamers, in which I do plan on building a custom PC sometime soon, so I wanted to show you some of the other features real quick. As I mentioned, this keyboard is all about low latency by using low profile optical switches with 0 debounce delay and less than 1 millisecond hyperspeed connection. Outside of that, it also features a really nice aluminum alloy media button and multi-function roller. I actually prefer this keyboard way more than the MX mechanical keyboard. I just really hope that eventually they come out with Mac OS support. To go with my new keyboard, Grovemade hooked me up with a few new additions, including this full-size handmade walnut and leather wrist rest that goes perfect with my walnut butcher block top and all the black aesthetics I have in almost every corner of my office. And to help me with all my to-do list items and ideas that I've been thinking of, they also sent me over this matte black pen with the walnut stand along with the dotted notebook. I specifically went with the dotted version because outside of to-do lists, I prefer to draw some of my ideas out. Next up is an upgrade that I've been wanting to make for so long, but price was always a factor for this one, and that is I finally got the Herman Miller and body chair. The chair comes fully assembled, but of course I couldn't fit it through my office door, so I had to unbox it in the hallway. There's a ton of great reviews on YouTube you can find on this chair, and I now understand the hype. I may do a more in-depth review on this later, but the best way I can put it for this chair, it just feels right. I was able to do several different customizations to it, even though I really didn't have to out of the box, but after I did so, it was able to perfectly conform to my back, which was exactly what I was looking for. For the majority of people, I get it, the price is a little too steep for this one, but someone once mentioned to me that you only get one spine. As someone that has been dealing with back and posture issues with my last few chairs, it was well worth it for me. But outside of that, the back side of this chair, it just looks sick, and it adds another design element to my office aesthetic. Overall, besides the price, this chair is near perfect in my opinion. If any of you have seen my smart home series videos, I am working on automating as much as possible, including the shades in our house. So I finally decided to switch out my office shades. My current ones are the heavy options that I have to manually open and close, which, as all of us lazy people know, is the absolute worst. Plus, something always breaks, including this. So I decided to try a brand out you can find on Amazon called Ulax or Yolax, I'm not really sure. Basically, I just needed to know the inside dimension of my window and choose the style and color that I wanted. Installation's super easy, you just need to mount the top brackets a few inches in from each side and then push the blinds in. Once installed, I just needed to use the pre-programmed remote to get it going. So this version is the rechargeable option. I just have to charge it every few months using a USB cable, which is so much nicer than having an exposed cable all the time. These do require an Amazon device that has Zigbee. It's not super easy to get set up with Alexa, but it's not really an issue once you read the directions. And again, it still has the remote in case you don't want to use Alexa. Once I got it all set up, I was able to put it on an automated schedule to open it slightly at sunrise to give my plants some sunlight and then close it at sunset for privacy. I also have a command for when I have a certain visitor that will open the blinds ever so slightly so that he can guard over our neighborhood like a hawk. Alexa, Dexter is here. And now it's time to address the biggest monster in my office. The catch-all be-all section that I've not treated with much respect. I'm talking about my super messy, completely disorganized Alex drawers. And no, I actually didn't alter this to make this look any worse. It is just literally the worst it's ever been because we've been pretty busy these past few months. So after watching a bunch of videos, I've decided to try several different methods of organizing these Alex drawers and see what works best for me. Before I go on, yes, I know some people don't like Alex drawers, but honestly, I've had no issues with mine. I like the look. I get that it's overly used in desk setups, but for me, it gets the job done, and I like mine. Alright, just like my cable management, I wanted to start from scratch. I began by first removing everything and putting it all on a table. After everything was out, my method I chose to go with was to group everything by category and remove things I knew I needed to go somewhere else, or that just wouldn't bring me much joy, as some would say. An organization tip that I learned was that if everything has a home, it'll be easier to keep it organized. So I decided that I wanted to custom make the drawer where I kept some of the tools that I frequently use in my office. I wanted to do this by custom making dividers along with using Kaizen foam. To start off, I laid out everything to get a better idea of where each item would go and how I'd go about doing the dividers. I custom made the dividers using 2-inch poplar wood that I got from Lowe's. I chose to cut them with slots so that they could lock into each other and keep them sturdy yet removable if needed. There's better ways of cutting the slots, but all I had was my miter saw, so I made it work. I still wanted it to look like it was part of my office, so I painted each piece by hanging them with a tiny nail in an area that would not be visible and spray painting them using a matte black paint. Obviously, I probably should have opened the garage door a little more for ventilation, and maybe I should have wore gloves, but I mean, art is art. I also added a rubber mat to the base of the drawer to add a layer of protection and keep everything from sliding around too much. What I was most excited about here was trying out Kaizen foam for this project. For those of you that don't know, Kaizen foam is basically just multi-layered foam that you can trace and cut out the item that you want to put in it by peeling away layers of the foam. It's mainly used for tool storage and in factories to help ensure tools are never misplaced, but I wanted to give it a shot in my office. Typically you would use the Kaizen foam to fill up the entire drawer, but in my case I only had a few slots I wanted to use it in, so I started by cutting the first slot out. And because this version was pretty thick, I was able to tear it in half to reuse for a later time. I then traced out the screwdriver that my dad handmade me, which I'll post videos on my Instagram and TikTok for those of you that want to see more content. I then just started cutting out layer by layer based on how deep I wanted it to sit. I then repeated this step with my pliers. It actually got a little addicting doing this once I started getting the hang of it. For my top drawer, which I knew would be my heaviest usage drawer, I wanted to have easy access to all my USB cables. So I got this acrylic separator from Amazon and filled it out with the essential USB items. To make sure each cable had its own defined spot, I bought this pretty cheap labeler that I'm pretty sure was like $10 or $12, and I labeled each one. I'll leave links down in the description below for everything that you've seen in this video today. If there's anything I'm missing, just let me know down in the comments. Honestly, you just get to a point where you just want to label everything after you start doing this. Please also don't forget to congratulate Dexter for being promoted to head of security of my office. He's done a fantastic job. I've never been safer. Kaizen foam is surprisingly not the cheapest item for organization, so an alternative I wanted to try out was using foam mats that I got at Michael's Arts and Crafts store. Not only was I wanting to try this out as a method for organizing my Alex drawers, but I wanted to see if I could make it into kind of a showpiece with my Apple products. So just like with my other drawer, I placed everything on the mat to figure out my layout. Once I figured out what I wanted to do, I traced it all and cut through it. If the products here were a little thicker, I could technically glue a few pieces of foam together and cut it out from there. This process took a fair amount of focus and some time, and it wasn't as easy as the Kaizen foam, but still relatively satisfying, especially for the price. One other trick I learned was that you can use a different color foam for the base area that I attached using spray adhesive so that when you remove an item, it will show more easily as a sign that it's missing. I used a light gray here, but I suggest a brighter color if you want it to stick out more. This was my first attempt with it, so I feel like I have some room for improvement, but overall I was pretty happy with this method. Organizing my Alex drawers actually became a mammoth of a project for me because I wanted everything to be functional and sustainable from an organization standpoint over time. So I do have plans of continuing to try several methods out and doing a full video on this sometime in the future. So if you want, be sure to subscribe to my channel down below if it's something that you'd like to see, or let me know down in the comments what else you'd like me to cover in future videos. With that said, that about wraps up my dream desk setup for 2022. Thanks for watching this video. I have a wedding to get ready for, so I'll see you guys after that.